where crews from View, Ty, Merkel, and the Forest Service are working to put it out. It's on White Mines Road, just 10 miles south of Ty. Started by a stray spark from some outdoor welding and jumped a fence to the west. One home currently being threatened, but no one has been hurt. According to the View Fire Chief on scene, crews expect to be fighting back the flames well into the night. Good evening. I'm Samantha Jones.
And I'm Randy Turner. We thank you for joining us. Starting out tonight with weather, we have Cash Payne over in the Weather Center. Cash, it is Friday. We want to know what's the weekend forecast looking like.
Well, yeah, we made it through much of the weekend. It was blazing hot. No, not blazing hot temperatures, but we're in the 90s, a little bit above normal. It looks like heading into this weekend, it'll be much of the same, but there will be a nice solid breeze coming out of the southeast, about 15 to 25 miles an hour. We begin with satellite radar showing you what's going on across the state. A few sea breeze showers working their way in from the Gulf, affecting southern parts of Texas, down towards San Antonio, Houston, trying to make its way more into the Lone Star State, but probably will not be reaching the big country, which, you know, it would be nice to see a little bit more rain activity going into early parts and mid parts of June, but we might see some heading into next week. Right now, this is going to be pretty much the picture that you're going to be seeing over the weekend. Fairly dry, fairly clear, lots of sunshine. Temperatures in the low to mid 90s, 95 in Aspermont, 94 in Jayton, 97 the hot spot on the map in Breckenridge and Robert Lee, 96 for you nice folks in Coleman, also 95 degrees down towards Brownwood. As we head into your weekend, tomorrow will be much of the same. Like I said, 93 degrees, probably our afternoon high. Heading into Father's Day, about the same as far as temperatures go, maybe a little bit more cloud cover and also a chance for storms heading into the evening. Guys?
Cash, thank you. Well, today our parent company, Nexstar Media Group, is celebrating its 22nd anniversary. KRBC joining more than 100 stations across the nation in an effort to give back to the community. Right now, our team is over at the Taylor Jones Humane Society helping paint and fix up the nonprofit.
And joining us right now live, our Kelsey Pittman, who's at the Taylor Jones Humane Society. Kelsey, you've been there most of the day. How's the paint job looking?
Thanks, Sam and Randy. We're out here at the Taylor Jones Humane Society for the Founders Day We Care for Nexstar. Hundreds of Nexstar companies across the nation are giving back to the community we serve. Now, this looked a lot different than we worked this morning. Melissa's here with us for the Taylor Jones Humane Society. It's looking different, isn't it?
Oh, it's looking wonderful. We can't wait to expand and add more kennels. And our next big project, besides the kennels, is working on our floors. So if anybody has a great idea for kennel floors, we want them.
And you're talking about the dogs. That's kind of what we're here.
Yes.
Supporting the dog. This is Goldie. We have Goldie here.
Look at this sweet girl. She really needs a home. She would make a great family dog. She's about 5 years old, calm, sweet, wonderful. So if anybody wants to add a beautiful girl to their family, this would be the dog.
And you talked about, y'all have these kennels back here, but you're adding more. Is that going to help you be able to support more animals?
Yes, we plan to add more kennels and also redo these kennels to make different sizes, and they're going to be beautiful and gorgeous, and you will be so surprised and excited. Can't wait for everybody to come back and see them when we get it all done.
Awesome. And we just want to make a shout out to the Home Depot and Kelly Moore Paint for helping us donate supplies and their time. In Abilene, Kelsey Pittman, KRBC, Abilene's local news. Back to you guys.
All right, Kelsey, thank you very much. Well, tomorrow's Election Day in Abilene for the City Council Place 2 runoff, and tonight we're hearing from both candidates. Bruce Kreitler, the incumbent for Place 2, Jack Rentz trying to beat him for the seat. In the May 5th election, Rentz took the most votes, but not a majority, leading to the runoff election tomorrow. KRBC asking both candidates, if you are elected, how will you maintain a dialogue with your community?
The same way I've kept it going in the 3 years I've been on the council. I get back to people. I search people out when there's somebody that I think needs to be talked with, met with. I push the ball forward all the time.
I've got to stay in touch with them to understand what people believe is important. We sent out 6,800 mailers to individuals with a questionnaire, and we're having real good response from that. And we're learning a lot from people, and people talking to us by way of the mailers gives me a good idea of what's important to people.
Voting for Place 2 happening tomorrow at several poll locations all throughout Abilene. We'll keep you updated on tomorrow's election results and our coverage on our website, bigcountryhomepage.com.
And keeping with the political theme, Mayor Anthony Williams celebrating the one-year mark since being elected to lead the Key City. You'll remember Mayor Williams won a runoff last June against Abilene businessman Robert Briley. Williams is the first black man to be the mayor of Abilene. The mayor says this last year he's continued to work on his platform of diversity.
When I say diversity, I mean diversity of thought, opinion, and ideas. And I really wanted to be a part of a conversation that was more inclusive of all those who represent Abilene, Texas.
Mayor Williams also highlighting the upcoming work on streets with the maintenance fee now passed, and he says he's looking forward to continuing his term.
Happening in your community this weekend, the annual Friends of the Abilene Public Library used book sale. It's going on at the Convention Center. The sale started with members only last night. It's been going on today, continues through Sunday. All of the money from the book sale goes to help the library buy new books and other material for people to use.
And in tonight's education report, in an effort to get more students involved in technical training, Workforce Solutions of West Central Texas is giving grants to area schools, a total of almost $90,000.
Yeah, and those grants help with area students getting real-world experience with internships such as welding, agriculture, automotive technology, and wind energy. The schools receiving grants and the amount given to each listed right there on your screen. The schools received their checks on Wednesday.
We turn to a story continuing to develop in our nation and right here in Texas. Down in Austin last night, protesters rallying to stand against immigration policies, hoping the federal government will change how it handles undocumented immigrants. Policies like this week's announcement that domestic violence and gang violence victims could be kept from seeking asylum. KRBC's Jacqueline Powell at the rally talking with protesters last night.
We raise our fists in solidarity with the families that have been torn apart systematically by this administration.
Well, I think we're joining those voices.
It's just beyond outrageous. In my mind, it's criminal.
None of that is okay. Watching hundreds of Austinites turn out in support of immigrant families that have been torn apart was heartening for those facing the very real fear that it could happen to them.
It just shows that, the community is really aware of these issues and people do want to change.
At this rally, Daniela Rojas shared how she relates to those families being separated at the border.
I'm a DACA recipient, so I'm somewhat protected, but my parents are undocumented, and that's a fear that I have of coming home one day and not finding them there. And so it's a fear that even once you're on this side of the border, you're still having to deal with that fear.
Rojas wants to see more compassion.
When you're risking that much for your children, it just tells you, how bad it is in their home countries.
Hearing stories of families like hers
breaks my heart, but I think it's also an opportunity to really come together and fight back.
Another aspect to the developing story on immigration. Now, the Trump administration selecting a border facility near El Paso to build a temporary tent city for migrant children. Tornillo, Texas will be where tents are constructed to house the overflow of migrant children, many of whom have been separated from their parents. The Department of Health and Human Services will host a tent city estimated to hold 450 beds for children.
Since the Trump administration's new zero-tolerance policy began for people trying to enter the U.S. illegally, hundreds of parents have been detained while their children have been taken away to government shelters. U.S. Customs and Border Protection also used tents to house an influx of migrants in 2014 at the end of the Obama administration. And in Washington, senators calling for investing in younger generation for the future of our military, which could be impacted by the next vote on National Defense Authorization Act.
And they invited incoming military students to the Capitol to honor those heading to military academies. D.C. correspondent Bree Jackson reports.
I really wanted to do something to give back.
Virginia resident Harmon St. Germain says he's ready to attend West Point and wants to serve his country.
Really wanted to experience the brotherhood and be a part of the Long Gray Line.
St. Germain joins this select group of students heading to military service academies. Their enrollment comes at a time when the military is looking to boost enlistment numbers. Senators Mark Warner and Tim Kaine invited the teens and their families to Capitol Hill to say thank you.
We care deeply about the caliber of young people serving our nation, and every year we're blown away by the quality of these young Virginians who are going to go serve our country.
Lawmakers are preparing to vote on the National Defense Authorization Act. As part of that bill, senators want to improve military readiness by attracting more tech-savvy recruits.
We need to be able to compete in cyber and misinformation because countries like China and Russia in those fields are already our equals.
Warner says the 2016 election proved our nation must be better prepared to defend against cyber attacks. He also wants to use technology to cut through security clearance backlogs and speed up the hiring process.
Is that there's now a 740,000 person backlog on security clearances. So if a young person came out of school and wanted to join the CIA, it might take them a year before they get a clearance.
Reporters say passing the NDAA is one way to invest in the future of service members and help keep our nation safe. In Washington, Bree Jackson.
Looking ahead to a national event starting next week, female pilots preparing for a race with the starting line right here in the Big Country at a historic hangar. It begins at Avenger Field in Sweetwater. This is a cross-country airplane race that will travel all the way to Maine. 42nd Annual Air Race Classic will be hosted this year by the National Women Air Force Service Pilots World War II Museum in Sweetwater. Competitors making 8 stops on the flight from Sweetwater to Maine. That race begins Tuesday, June 19th.
And coming up this weekend, it's a Pie Fest in downtown Cisco featuring live music and an all-you-can-eat pie buffet. There will also be bounce houses and a petting zoo along with a quilt show and a car show for free. For more information about the event, it can be found at the website there on your screen.
And also tomorrow, honoring lost loved ones with a butterfly release memorial. It's hosted by the West Texas Rehabilitation Center's Hospice of the Big Country. It starts at 11 a.m. at the Festival Gardens just across from the Abilene Zoo at Nelson Park. Service is free. It's open to the public. Hospice has been providing care to terminally ill patients in the Abilene community and surrounding counties since 1992.
And coming up here on First at 5, as the Texas High School Rodeo Finals continue here in Abilene, we're highlighting another competitor. We'll share his story coming up here on First at 5.
A warm and dry evening across the region, but wetter weather is on the way. I'll have those details coming up after the break.
This is KRBC, Abilene's local news at 5 with Samantha Jones and Chief Meteorologist Randy Turner.